Thank you, Brad. Very kind words. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this World Expeditions webinar on Pakistan. So I should mention before we start that this is the 50th anniversary for World Expeditions. So we've got quite a few exciting trips planned in Nepal later on this autumn, and I'm very excited to be part of that as well. But tonight we're going to Pakistan, and we'll be talking about predominantly the Snowman Exploratory trek. Obviously, most people here are familiar with the K2 Base Camp trek. That's been an outstanding trek for World X for many, many, many years. We have a long-standing relationship with our local operator, Nazir Zabir, and have really excellent staff on the ground. And we've been running that trip successfully for many, many decades. In fact, it was my first ever trek way back in 1989 with Greg Mortimer as the leader back then. Anyway, I guess before we sort of I'll show some images from Pakistan. I think just covering basic things like your fitness preparation. So this is not going to be a sort of an ordinary trek. So like with all exploratory treks and all mountaineering trips, the fitter you are, the better. So if this is something that you're seriously considering, well, fantastic. But start training. And I always like to mix it up, so you don't just do one mode of training. You do your bike riding, your swimming, your jogging, your bushwalking. Bushwalking is amazing because it really gets you into the kind of fitness that's required for a multi-day hike like the K2 Base Camp or the exploratory trek. Carry more than you think you will, or that you will on a given day on a trek. That way you're ahead. If you want to go to the climbing gym, fantastic. If you have the opportunity to come to the Blue Mountains where I live and work as well, you can come up and do some rope skills training, which might be beneficial for you. Abseil training, or learning how to travel on fixed lines, maybe alpine ropes across glaciers. So try and be as prepared as you possibly can be before you join a trip of this nature. Refer to our the itinerary and the PDIs. There's lots of really good information in there as well about the equipment requirements for a trip like this, and also obviously a breakdown of the itinerary. I should say the itinerary for this one is a little bit loose because it is exploratory. So there is a few sort of unknowns, I guess. When we get up into the glacial system, and we sort of don't know exactly what the days are going to look like. We just expect them to be long. Anyway, so if you look at the screen here, you can see all of the Himalayas in all its glory, 2,500 kilometers almost from east to west. And then in the top left-hand corner, you got northern sort of Pakistan, the sort of top 20% of Pakistan. And that's where you find the Karakoram Range, and that's where you find obviously K2, Broad Peak, the Gasherbums, and a host of 7,000-meter peaks. In fact, the Karakoram has the largest concentration of 7,000-meter peaks anywhere in the world, and some of the largest glacial systems outside of the Antarctica. And that is partly why it's such a fascinating place to visit and explore. This map here sort of shows you the traditional trekking route from Skardu up the Baltoro to Concordia, that massive sort of T-junction, if you like, the confluence of four major glaciers. And if you do the K2 trek, you'll be following the Baltoro Glacier all the way up to Concordia. We'll visit Broad Peak Base Camp. We'll visit the Gilkey Memorial K2 Base Camp. And then we return back down south, cross over the Concordia, and then head out over the Gondogoro La back down south. So that trip, we're running that this year. That is confirmed. I'll be joining the trip as the leader in 2026, and the aim is to include Pastora Peak as well. So we'll be doing a little bit of a climb as well as the standard kind of trek. So I'm really looking forward to that. We tried last year to climb Pastora Peak, but we were unsuccessful due to snow conditions. So I'm really keen to go back and revisit that trek again. But of course, you can't go to Pakistan without showing or having a webinar without showing a photograph of K2. K2 really is it's the mountaineer's mountain. And what's different from something like Everest, say, is that you can in fact trek all the way up to base camp, and you can go past the Gilkey Memorial and past K2 base camp, and you can touch K2, and then it rises 3.5 vertical kilometers above you. It's hard to, we throw around the word awesome quite a lot, but it truly is awesome. It is it's on a scale that's hard to explain. The trek obviously goes up the Baltura Glacier, past the Ulibayo peaks and the Trango Towers, and the trekking in Pakistan is quite different to the Himalayas. If in Nepal or Bhutan. So I guess if you think of Bhutan as sort of the eastern end of the Himalayas, it's very green, it's very lush, lots of forest, whereas in Pakistan, this being a younger mountain range, the Karakoram, you have less forest cover. So it's nice when you trek through a country like this to come across a little meadow with grass or flowers, and you really do appreciate greenery a lot more. So the K2 trek, in my mind, is one of the top treks in the world, sort of up there with the snowman trek in Bhutan. If you are considering going to Pakistan as a first timer, I highly recommend the K2 trip. What I'll be talking about now is more, I guess, probably for guests who've certainly got multi-day trekking experience, who've been to altitude before, and who like the kind of frontier experience that Pakistan brings, and would like to explore that wild country a little bit more. So basically, on your screen now, there's a map up in the sort of top left-hand corner. You can see Snow Lake, and then you've got this massive sort of glacial system. So we will come up from the south. So we will start our trek from Ascoli. We will trek to Jula, which is just after the Biafra Glacier. You can see it's about 3,200 meters above sea level. And then we basically go north. So we veer off the main trekking route up to K2 base camp. And we look, it's fair to say that K2 is popular for a reason. It is spectacular, but it does get a lot of visitors and guests. I do not expect we'll be coming across many, if any, other groups on this particular walk. So we'll head up. We'll touch on the Panmah Glacier. We'll head left, northwest, I guess, up towards the Latok peaks. And then our first big pass is the Simla, which is a major pass at over 5,800 meters. So the idea is to spend time exploring the glaciers in that part of the Karakoram. If we have time on the far side, there's a couple of 6,000 meter peaks or high 5,000 meter peaks that we could potentially climb, and we have enough time in our itinerary to potentially have a go at that. But firstly, get ready for some rimmer crossings, because it's unlikely that there'll be many bridges where we'll be going. So if we're lucky, we can jump across streams like this fella here, but most likely it's going to be something like this where we will have to assist each other walking across icy rivers. That's always really good fun. It'll give you a nice ice cream headache. The water is absolutely freezing. I guess the change between the variation between the ambient air temperature and the ice cold water is probably about maybe 40 degrees. So yes, cold water. Anyway, lots of meadows along the way. I expect lots of wildflowers, lots of pretty little flowers. These things are actually quite small. They're only about a few millimeters across, but I zoomed in and because I like the colors when I was there last. So, but what we're going there for is the scenery and also spending time with the local staff. Some of these guys have been with the company for many years and are really proven and tested and are excellent at working in remote and hardy conditions. And I look forward to be reuniting with the team. Hopefully, is it this coming July. Like all the world expeditions treks, we're completely self-sufficient. What that means in Pakistan is that there'll be a lot of porters. So if you've ever trekked in Nepal and you've been on a remote trek, we might have, I don't know, for a group of 10 guests, there might be a kitchen crew of 6 or 7. We might have some local staff, maybe 4 or 5, and then we might have 30 or so porters. In Pakistan, we're looking at probably 70 porters at least to start with. So it's a massive group that we're moving with. We'll probably start sending porters back even after day 1, but we will finish with a considerable number of porters, probably in the vicinity of 35 to 40. So it's quite a logistical exercise, but we carry everything with us. So all the food, all the fuel, everything that we need to be successful. There'll be plenty, I'm sure, of sort of lunch settings like this image here on the middle of a vast glacier surrounded by huge mountains. The food is phenomenal, and like on all the World X trips, we can cater for all dietary requirements. So please let the office know if you have any sort of special needs in that regards. So what I'm really looking forward to is seeing this fella. So this is the ogre. Yeah. I think one of the things that is breathtaking when you go to Pakistan is the sheer scale of the mountain faces that you pass beneath, the way that they rise up, several kilometers from the valley floor to the summit. It is something that you don't, and you're in quite close. So it's a little bit different to, say, trekking in Nepal. In the sort of, you can see in the background, that sort of saddle to the left of the guy taking the photo, that is the Simla. So that is more than 5,800 meters. So we will in fact be coming up from the other side and entering the Sim Glacier Valley, and we'll have a night probably a little bit further along, and we can then look back at the ogre. Lots of climbing stories about the ogre. Lots of horror stories with climbers being stuck and having accidents. Famously, Doug Scott was up there and had a bit of a horror time getting down. Victor Saunders has written a very good account of that experience. But all around you in this glacial plateau, there are a huge number of 6,000 and 7,000 meter mountains. So make sure you bring your camera, because it is worthwhile taking great photos, lots of panoramas. We'll be camping on snow. We'll be camping on the glacier. Obviously, when you travel on a glacier, you need to be roped up because of the risk of falling into a crevasse. So we will manage that and make sure that everyone is safe. That's everyone, including staff and porters, of course. Um, so plenty of time leading up to the Simla crossing to acclimatize. And so we have sort of built in rest days, but probably those rest days will be spent, going for acclimatization walk so we can get over the Simla Pass safely. Down the other side, we will be going to Snow Lake. So Snow Lake was sort of first discovered by a British explorer called Martin Conway way back in 1892. So he came in from west. He came over the Hispar La, and he looked down into this vast sort of glacial basin, thinking that it looked like it was a glacier, but a glacier without an outlet. That's since been proven not to be correct, but that's how it got its name, Snow Lake. On the sort of eastern edge of Snow Lake, there's a peak called Corners Peak, which is close to 6,000 meters, and I've sort of got my eye on that one. It shouldn't be too technically difficult to ascend. We will have the Pakistani equivalent of Sherpas on this trip. They're called high altitude porters, or HAPs, and they will help, facilitate hopefully a safe ascent of maybe Corners Peak, or maybe another peak that takes our fancy. But I should also say that it's not a mandatory thing to join the climbing party. You can remain in our base camp and hang out and just enjoy the spectacular scenery that surrounds you. Or of course, you're more than welcome to join the climbing party as well. We can provide things like helmets and harnesses, and crampons and ice axes for you. Yeah, I'm super excited to go on this trek. It's something I've been going to Pakistan for a number of years now, and it always takes my breath away when I go. Just the sheer scale of the mountains and that sense of frontier trekking. And I'm really excited to be going to Snow Lake finally after all these years. It's been in the back of my mind for quite a while now. And again, this is some of the scenery that we'll be camping in, sort of around the Snow Lake area. It's hard to beat, and you will not find scenery like this anywhere else in the world. So base camp will most probably look something like this. So we'll have our tents. You can pay your single supplement and have a tent to yourself. Or if not, you'll be sharing with someone else most likely. There'll be a kitchen tent, there'll be a dining tent, and then accommodation for staff and porters as well. So just us on our Pat Malone in this vast glacier in the middle of the Karakoram. How exciting is that? Like I said, if you do want to join in and climb a peak, that will be done roped up. So most likely myself, I'll be going ahead, trying to scout a route and make a safe ascent of a peak somewhere around the Snow Lake area. It'll be a lot of fun to climb a mountain in Pakistan. I was supposed to go to Gasherbrum 1 and Gasherbrum 2 a couple of years ago, but it just fell through because of I can't even remember why. But I've decided not to pursue any more 8,000ers, but I'm very keen to climb 6,000 and 7,000 meter peaks in Pakistan, and so hopefully we can get a peak done on this trip in July. Down the other side of the Hispar La, we will sort of rejoin grassy meadows, and it will be a happy time getting everyone over to major 5,000 meter passes down to the safety of the greener pastures on the far side. So we're sort of doing a not quite a circuit. So we'll finish up in Hunza, so a little bit further to the north, and we'll then sort of start the journey back to Islamabad. So the trip length is 27 days in total. Quite a lot of that is spent, going to and from the Karakoram, and the trek itself is about 17 days in total. That includes 2 to 3 days to do exploratory trekking or maybe climb a peak. But yes, there we are. So we're sort of coming towards the end of the trek, and it is quite an astonishing thing if you've been in a monochrome moon-like environment for a few weeks, and then suddenly finding yourself amongst grass and wildflowers, the assault on your senses, with the colors and the smells is quite it's something else. So yeah, something to look forward to. So I am open to questions, if you have any questions.
Okay, I should just probably, forgot to mention that there should be a question and answer button somewhere on your Zoom. And if you wish to ask Soren a question, just type it in there and he will answer it.
So Brad, I can't see the Q&A, so you might have to read out the questions for me.
All right, well, we don't have any yet.
Okay,
so
sure.
I know that in the past, Soren, some people have asked about boots. Do you need special boots?
Yep. So you need well insulated boots and double boots of some sort. So certainly, if you want to be part of the climbing party, you'll need double boots. If you just want to participate in the trek, you'll need boots that can take crampons. Yep.
All right. Looks like there might be a setting there that's missing, so people can't actually see it. I'll see if I can get that. But Soren, what is included usually in these trip costs that people won't have to go out and buy, that would save them money, and some critical things perhaps that they would have to go out and buy?
Yep. Okay. So things like ice axe and harness, helmet, and crampons will be included. You are expected to bring a belay device of some sort and some cord and some carabiners. But that's the only kind of climbing gear that you will be. Here we are.
It is working. Good news.
Okay, right. Okay, so I've got.
How much do they need to carry?
Okay, so yeah, I can see that. So how much do we need to carry? So I would say probably around maybe 10 kilos or less. And so we have the maximum weight for the duffel bag for the porters is 20 kilos. And then you carry during the day, anywhere up to maybe 10 or less. So basically, the higher we go, the more warm layers you'll probably be expected to carry in your pack. Maybe 2 to 3 liters of water, your camera gear, a snack, sunscreen, and all those bits and bobs. But yeah, no more than 10 kilos. And what level of training do you suggest to prepare? What examples? 6 months of hardcore training. So I guess so. Coming back to my sort of training suggestion early on, I think if you have, so like I mentioned, so this is probably not a suitable trek for a beginner, because it is fairly sort of extreme in terms of the environment that you will be that you'll be experiencing. So assuming that people have been on a trek before, I would refer back to the training that you did for that particular trip, and then I would ramp it up and I would mix it up. I would probably train maybe 4 or 5 times a week, really focus on your aerobic fitness and your stamina. And doing things like if you have a rowing machine, if you go to the gym and going on the rowing machine, that's always fantastic. Jogging is great. Swimming is fantastic. Mixing it up so you don't get bored by your training. But 4 or 5 times a week, and nothing, of course, beats uh, going for a bushwalk, carrying a heavy pack. So I always say it's really good if you if you can train for for a 12-hour plus day, because it's all good and well to be fit enough and know your ability for an 8-hour walk. But summit day might be longer, the pass crossing might be longer. So how do you perform in that environment? So I think it's good to kind of tick all those boxes and be as fit and well prepared as you possibly can be. So I hope that answers the question. The next question is, what altitude does the trip reach? So the highest pass crossing is 5,830 odd meters. But like I said, we might be climbing a small 6,000 meter peak as well. The Simla is 5.8. The Hispar La is 5,130 or 40 meters. The next question is, how do camera batteries cope with the cold, and is there a way to recharge camera gear? So, well, batteries generally, if they're new batteries, they perform better in the cold than older batteries. So I would definitely bring 2 spare batteries. So you have your main one in the camera, and then I will probably bring another 2 spare. And a little portable solar charger is really handy. There are a lot of different ones on the market that you can charge various gadgets with, and of course bring a power bank as well. The next question is, what treks do you suggest doing prior to prepare physically and to feel confident on this one? I mean, I think any sort of altitude trek, if you can, even if it's something like Everest high passes, but just so you have a sense of how your body performs at altitude. But yes, so any trek, I guess, that takes you above 5,000 meters would be a good answer. Do you need any previous climbing experience? I've done many altitude treks and recently never roped up though. No, I don't think so. I'll be happy to take you along without any climbing experience. We will be conducting sort of training days. So you'll be given a course in how to safely ascend and descend fixed lines, and how to abseil, and so it will be sort of a mini mountaineering course as well. Yeah, so I'll be happy to take you without any climbing experience.
Thanks, Soren. Just one question that people may not think about. You get excited about the mountains, but visas for Pakistan, are they simple and straightforward?
Yeah, it's an online process these days. So the office will guide you, but basically it'll be up to you to put through the application. It can take several weeks. In the past, if we haven't sort of heard back after a month or so, or thereabouts, then we usually contact our local ground staff or operator, and they will bring up someone at the in the immigration office, and usually that we get an answer sort of quick smart. But it's a fairly simple process.
All right, couple of weeks but good to remember that. So not a last minute
Yep.
thing for many reasons. Well, thank you very much, Soren, and thank you everyone for joining us. Of course, if you think of a question after we end the webinar, just get in touch with your office. We'll get you directly in touch with Soren. If you forgot something, this will be up online in the next couple of days, and you'll get an email and you can watch it again. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.